Meeting to order. Thank everybody for showing up. And with that, I'm going to ask Mr. Thomas to lead us in the pledge, Mr. Whitley in prayer.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
our Father,
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
All right, first item up will be anger and faith.
Anglers Bay, community of Anglers Bay at Hackberry was built a few years ago. It's an extensive subdivision that was owned by Sam Grove. The people in that subdivision is trying to get the parish to accept them as a parish road and system. The problem with Anglers Bay is they don't meet code in water. The water is actually, when you put the water line in, it was supposed to be a certain size, and then he put a smaller line in. A few years ago, as you know, we put a loop into the system from the north, which made a whole loop in Anglers Bay subdivision, which supplies plenty of water now. It does not meet code. Road-wise, they have, the people in Anglers Bay has pretty much paved or cemented all the roads in Anglers Bay subdivision. And the only area that's not paved or cemented is the section between the parish road and the entrance to Anglers Bay. They're requesting that we accept them as a parish, the parish road and the whole subdivision. The thing about it is, Anglers Bay, their taxes alone they're enormous. I mean, they're extremely nice homes, water access, and they're asking us to, if there's a way that they can, the parish can accept and make upgrades with their assistance. So that's pretty much I understand that they don't meet code, but I think there's sufficient. As far as the roads are pretty good roads. Like I said, the only major issue that I would have would be, in which the parish has, is with the water system. I'd like to look at it and see what we can do to try to help.
You have footage on that road?
No, I don't have a footage. I just wanted to bring this to your attention because they are requesting it. They are willing to throw money in to try to assist the parish to be able to accept this. And I'm thinking that I talked to the senator about it, and I think he said that the jury can actually vote this.
It's in the
to
code
accept
ordinance,
it.
so y'all would have to do something, since January 2nd, 2001.
And we have to make an exception to the covenant, correct?
Yeah, and that's been done before. It's not, this won't be the first time. The problem with it is, it's like, when I had a meeting with them, last month, and, like I said, they pay an awful lot of taxes. They feel that they're not part of the county parish community.
Yeah, well, we would send somebody in there to do any kind of soil sample on the road, make sure the foundation is right, Or,
Normally that, whenever someone calls about building a road, we give them this here, and it gives you everything that you have to do. We normally don't do that. That was something that the homeowners would normally do.
they would have to do to give, you know, if we request that,
Yes, sir.
get that, you know, 'cause I hate to accept the road and then they do those kind of soft cement. I was like, about the road, but I do know you gotta have a foundation, and we will accept it, and
We gotta, I'll make a suggestion, to that community, and I think it would be a reasonable suggestion, is for them to hire an engineer to go out, soil sample, and assure, that engineer would have to sign off to assure that that road system meets the minimum standards of this. And once they do that, then we would, to make sure the parish could send in somebody just to check that work. They can hire whoever engineer they want. We could spend a little bit of money on an engineer just to look over their data. And that way it would assure the jury that, you know, somebody just didn't sign off on the whole process.
I'm sure they'll agree
And
with that.
that would be a good way to solve that problem. And it would also be a way in the future for other similar circumstances to take place.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I would imagine they're gonna agree with that as well, because they're looking for a way to get it done.
Oh,
And whatever they have to do, they have already agreed that they're gonna do it.
And Klondike, when I was up here last time, the same thing happened, and the guy didn't want to bring it up to that standard, so we couldn't accept his subdivision. You know, I built a subdivision, and that's, you know, once you build that road to that spec, just like what she's got, then you take it over, it's just a parish opinion, and I would agree with that.
Good.
One, I think we've hit this before, one question that came up, I think is, you have to have clear right away. And I think that road, if I'm not mistaken, crosses over Joe's property at one point.
Yeah, well, that's
But as long as he'll sign it.
Yeah, that's
I'm
not-
too sure he would.
That's not an issue that they're worried about. The main issue they're worried about is with Mr. Grove. So that, once they hear back from us, they're gonna meet with Mr. Grove. And, again, they're all, from what I'm understanding, everyone is willing to put money in the pot to be able to get the engineer, probably to get it up to standard or whatever it can be.
And then one of the things I have to mention too is like, if the homeowners all own that section, I don't know if Mr. Rose still owns the whole entire road, and someone will have to be able to sign it over. And if there's several owners, which we've done that before in the past, they have to sign off.
Yeah, so we
To give us right away.
But Judge, you gonna?
I'll talk to them.
Okay.
I got it, you know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, anybody, any more discussion on that? Questions?
thank you.
All right, we'll move on. Next one is debris review.
Good morning.
Morning.
To give you an update, we have hauled roughly a little over 600,000 cubic yards as of Wednesday. We are currently working in all areas still at this point. We have completed first pass in the Grand Lake area and then I think in Hackberry. We currently have trucks down in Johnson Biden, Holly Beach, Cameron, Little Chenier, Chenier Purdue, and Grand Chenier at this point. I will have trucks moving into the Klondike and Lowry area on Monday for sure. So we'll get that.
What, are y'all dealing with hangers over the parish roads and stuff like that, or?
Yes, sir.
Y'all are?
Yes, sir.
Because I have a couple of roads that's, in my district that need some attention.
Okay.
May chain aware of them.
Okay.
And, but this hanger stuff, not only on the parish road, and I'm talking to the jury now, but not only on the parish road, but on people's property, is gonna be something we don't need to really consider, trying to get people to agree to pay more of it, but this is some dangerous stuff happening in these trees in certain locations, some locations, and almost in everybody's district. And I think we need to make you got a resident that just ain't got the funds to be able to hire somebody to get that out of there. One day that might kill one of their grandkids, and that's, if we can, and we can afford, that's something seriously I'd like to see us work on.
There is a requirement, you come out hangers on the Ferris Road and stuff, there's a 14 foot that you're supposed to have a clearance of, and we could follow some kind of guideline or something like that too in some of the areas.
14 foot from what, center line?
No, right from the ground.
Oh, from the ground, okay.
These branches that I'm talking about on these two roads, on one road, they're probably 60 foot in the air. They're above the edge of the road, and they're probably this big, and they're probably
We're more than
40
capable.
foot long. I don't know how you safely get that out, but,
We have bucket trucks that actually boom up
okay.
to that height, so, and then they turn them
Yeah,
over
that's-
there and drop.
And all roads need to be really gone through and make sure that there's nothing like that hanging. They're easy to miss. You gotta really look for them, but they're up there.
Yes, sir. We're gonna get them
And the ones in my district, I can point them out.
out. Oh, great, okay.
I have a question for you, and Kate as well. I've had several calls from individuals saying that the drivers on the Parish Road say that they cannot go down private roads. The drivers has told these individuals that they cannot go down private roads. Am I correct? That's already been discussed and it's already supposed to happen?
I think if you let Ms. Patty go ahead and answer, she could probably answer that question.
Yes. Yes, we have gotten approval to go down private roads that are not gated and is open to the public for several residents. This has to be, of course, a road that goes to several houses, one or two houses. That actually has to be more than one house. But yes, we do have access and we have been trying to.
Wait a minute, what did you say about several houses?
It has to be more than one house for that road.
Why?
According to FEMA, that's what they wrote.
Yeah,
And,
I think that was in the driveway.
But I did meet with Boston, which is the debris monitoring firm, yesterday, and we went over a lot of these case-by-case basis where maybe the drivers assumed it was undeveloped property because they're just not familiar with the extremely rural communities. So it really is ultimately up to the monitoring firm, which is Rawson, to make the call. And we had that meeting yesterday, so things should start improving starting next week. They'll go back and pick up a lot of those roads that they've missed.
Okay, we've had several houses that, and I've had several calls about, private roads, and supposed to be private roads, but they're not really private. I mean, they're open, anybody goes in there, but they belong to somebody else. But like I said, they were told that they could not go down there, so.
that will change. We also had a meeting with Ross Dan as well. We're looking at it on a case-by-case basis, because there are some areas where they're unable to get the debris to the right-of-way. The right-of-way is nothing.
Well, that's the problem, some of these houses are, I mean, they're way back there, you know, they don't have a means of getting to the road.
Yes, sir.
So,
We're gonna.
okay, thank you.
What about, the driveway that you cannot get your truck down there, the road is small? How are you gonna handle on get debris over there?
We've got different size crews for that. We've got, of course, the big trucks. We've also got pickups with trailers that have skid steers with them.
And I think that's where some of the confusion is, where they say we can't go down your road, because the equipment cannot go down the road.
Correct. And that
Y'all
can
have the equipment to go down.
be, yes, each crew has the very large trucks to small trucks, each stuff that we have. So it's just getting the right crew in the right area.
And some of the confusion is up until July, FEMA has always said, no, we can't do private roads. That's just been in the G forever, but they changed that this year. So a lot of these drivers have been in storms for 12 years, they've always known the red road or whatever, we can't go down it. So some of that might be that confusion too, but we'll make sure we get with our contractor and let the driver know, hey guys, I know we might not have heard this yet, but we can absolutely go down private roads.
Sure.
As long as it's not gated.
One of the questions I got, and I see it on all the roads, some of these drivers, even with the skid steers, they go down this road, they pick up the bulk, and then haul butt. They don't come back, pick up, clean up. Or are they gonna do the cleanup?
So, and that's on the first pass, that's when we're just there to get the bulk, to get the immediate danger hazards out of the roadway. So they're not there to like really manicure yet, because what's gonna happen, they're gonna get a big pile, but there's still a lot coming out. So it's about time. So the first pass is to get the majority of the stuff, but then we expect them to be putting more stuff out there. So we're not gonna get every last bit right away. Eventually, like, that's why we'll have a final pass. And Rostam will go, and they'll also make sure that we are picking up everything. And then Rostam will have to be the ones that say, yes, you completed the final pass, and then they'll bring it to you.
What about the big trees that they're leaving?
Big trees, we will get the big trees. Some of the equipment, there might be an older piece of equipment that doesn't have the ability to pick it up yet, but we'll have trucks that have newer, more powerful knuckle booms on, or booms that can pick up that.
Right, it's more like a specialized group that goes around, because they'll have to cut them up and be able to.
So whenever they go down these roads and they're leaving, I call it white goods, all the white goods on the roads,
Yes.
We start.
that's not a danger.
No, it is, I mean, but that has to be separated, we can't pick that up with all the other debris. It's actually a completely different line item, we have the way we have to take care of it, where it's gotta go, we gotta get the freon out. And that's actually started today, and we're gonna be ramping up this week.
Where we stand with getting this done?
We're just started.
We started today. I've got more trucks coming in through the weekend. We should have a crew of 7. Their goal is to be able to haul 100 units a day. So once it goes, it should go pretty fast. Get them to the staging areas, process them like we're supposed to, and then
A
dispose
lot
of
of
them
people
properly.
want to haul all this off right now to our dump sites, and we're trying to hold them off as long as we can. What's gonna happen is we'll find them in a ditch on the side of the road somewhere, they'll go haul down the road. All right, thank you.
Well,
One last question about I noticed in a couple locations, and there might probably be a lot of locations when y'all want to look around, where they come in and they grab the stuff, and then they grab and make holes all along the sides of the roads. Who's going to be responsible to fix that at the end?
They will fix
I
that.
understand they're not going to come in and fix every time they make one of those graders,
Right.
in some cases. Who's going to fix that?
They are responsible, and initially we are responsible for repairing those. What they'll do is, once they get it cleaned up.
You say they, you talking about the subcontractor?
Yes, sir. We hold up to the damage, and of course, we are the backup. If they don't do it, then we do it. It will be done.
At the end, the parish is going to have a ride around and figure out what's not done and what's going to be done.
That'll be like a final pass. All that will be, your,
Yeah, if I may clarify, we're still kind of considered in our first pass right now. And once we do have the second pass, then we'll start advertising the third and final pass. And we'll have our road crew and Shane will take point on that debris removal. And they'll canvass the entire communities and they'll fly. Kind of like when you're building a house, if you go and you do a punch list, we'll do a punch list that we'll provide to them, and then they'll do the final pass. But we'll advertise that final pass with a deadline. That way the residents know that this is their final chance to get things to the road. Because once we pick up the final pass and we manicure everything, we're not gonna come back.
So you said we're still in the first pass right
Community-wise, yes, we're still kind of in that first initial pass, picking everything up.
now? When are you gonna start your second pass? You have any idea?
a lot of areas, we've still got trucks in all the areas. A lot of them they've been cleaning up in these areas for some time. What it is we're seeing a lot of houses going down, some folks coming back now and not in the beginning. So it's honestly on the first pass, second pass, it's been very hard to defer and say, look, this is a first pass, because the first pass has been going on for some time, just because the timing of the debris and the amount of debris coming out. So the trucks will not leave the area. As they clean up and we kind of say, well, look, we think we got first pass completed, they will start round 2. They will just stay in the same area. And
I
keep
find
going.
that there's a lot of trash being left in the road, small pieces. Are y'all gonna come back and pick all of that up?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we're urging our crews to like sweep the roads after they leave an area or when they,
They're doing a good job.
are they okay?
Insulation and all.
They're doing a great job. I've had some calls. Guy raising 9 pounds cane, and he had an alternate route that he could take, but he chose to drive through it to get 2 flats. So it wasn't the people's fault, but they cleaned it. He just decided to drive through the trash, so.
And one thing that you'll find, I know they say first pass, second pass, final pass. You could go in the first pass phase, you could go down a heavy hit road 15 times. You know, so then you have another road where there's one house 10 miles down the road, that we just go one time. So I know it's, you know, it makes it sound all nice and clean. We went down the road one time, we'll be back for a second time, but it's kind of a moving thing. You know, so there's first and second, but it's all kind of flows together.
First and second are all the same, and then.
Kind of, yeah.
Final
Yeah.
pass is-
Final pass.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get you back to your normal waste thing before we pay, third pass.
No, I know at my house, I put them out, put trash out a couple of times, and don't come back and got it a little time, so. No. One of the only houses around. Any other questions? I only have one left, and it's probably more for the staff, and you guys together, and that's time. I see where the president had approved for 100%, for 30 days. Is there anything in the works for that to be extended further than that?
Yes, they are applying for an extension. I don't know, our sources are telling us that it's unlikely, that it's probably just gonna be a 30-day, that's gonna be applied on an individual basis per community. And our Roston, our debris monitoring firm, they're in close contact with the FEMA state staff, trying to figure out which 30 days benefits the parish the most. It's probably gonna be, right now, it's looking at 3 weeks after Hurricane Laura. And then when it would start, the only hiccup is Delta. Everyone had suspended operations for Delta. So we're trying to work around that maybe to see if they'll allow us to start the 30 days and then maybe not count the week of Delta and add it on the back end. But that's just something that's, it's in the works. We're applying for it, and it's not just us, it's gonna be Calcasieu Parish as well. So it's definitely on their radar, and they're looking at it. As soon as we hear from them, I'll let you know.
One of my concerns was, you know, getting it done pretty quick, but at the same time, there's still a lot of people that have not tore their house down, still waiting on insurance, so we gotta drag it on. But we're gonna be biting the bullet on this if they do come back, say with 60 days. Is there any opportunity for a lower match? Anybody talk about that?
Again, we applied for the 90/10. It's under review. It hasn't been approved yet. We'll just have to see what happens. I wish I could tell you more, but that's all I know is that we submitted everything we can, asking for it, and it's in their hands right now. They're gonna assess it, and then they'll make their determination. It might not be this year, it might be next June, I don't know. They'll just have to take a look at how expensive all the PWs, once people start submitting they do their recovery scoping meeting, and have a general idea of what each parish, what expenses they've incurred, then they'll probably make a decision and a determination based off of the initial damage inventory assessments that were sent in. But we don't have ours till next week for Hurricane Laura.
Okay, one more question. I know you guys probably made a bunch of contracts already with different debris sites, and we still have a couple in the works. We're trying to get some beneficial use done, if we can get that done. Are you guys willing to, if it's permitted correctly, you willing to dump in that site?
Yeah, so I mean, beneficial use, that's usually for like if you mulch the debris or the ash for final disposal. But if you're talking about like the coastal use permit, it's not just a coastal use permit they need stuff from FDNR, SHPO, there's a lot of other stuff going in, but if those are all in order, absolutely.
And I guess we know all of that, but what we're asking, are you willing to use it if it gets
If we work for you.
What it is, that's why you made it.
Yeah, probably.
What it is, we have some holes that were used for sand mining, Alicia years ago on Front Ridge, and every storm they wash out. And I've been on for 15 years trying to put all this stuff in them holes. And we've taken all this that's coming out of Lucian here, all this, most of that stuff's out of Lucian here, should be burdened all over. And haul it to Sweet Lake, and then we got on this agenda, a guy wanting to dig some holes in Sweet Lake to bury this stuff. And we got perfectly good holes out here, all that we use for sand mining. That, Katie, over the years, how much has it, you think it may have cost over the?
We stopped counting at $2 million.
So, over $2 million we've done spent and wasted on these washouts and keeping this road up out there. That if we could get DEQ to go along with us and use it as Whitburn, Murder, whoever, could use it as restoration, and start hauling over there, pump out, haul all this in there. Because right now the roads, if y'all pass on the front ridge, y'all see how bad they wash
Oh,
down.
yeah, yeah, seen it, yeah.
So I think we need to get him, I was talking to one of the landowners that has these holes, he's supposed to be getting with, I talked to Danny yesterday, and getting with Ashley, and get these permits and get with their guy. And we need to get this done where we can start hauling out there. I'm not for hauling, I don't care, I mean, really I do care, but I mean, to me, it's foolish to dig holes north, when all this is coming from here, it's a shorter route, plus it's beneficial.
Oh, absolutely, and I totally agree with you, just, I don't know exactly where this hole is, but one thing you have to keep in mind is that bridge. It's only a 30,000-pound bridge, so if it's on the other side of that,
You can go from this side, Jimmy sidewalk, I mean, from the line, about there.
okay.
And haul.
But yeah, no, we absolutely would do that, but the other thing too is where we already have the debris, even though that's the final resting place for that debris, we can't.
But I'd like that to be the final resting place down here.
Probably, you can get the permit.
That's wasted up there.
Yeah, we have to get permit, that they would have to get permitted.
So that's what we're trying to do, so that's what we need to do.
Okay.
That would be great, because that's a much shorter distance for us.
Yeah, as long as it's permitted, we're okay.
Well, we're gonna see if can we do
I'll
some
get
kind
with
of emergency
Kara.
permit?
I mean, we did try initially, but I think now it's a little bit something there, once they started doing the beneficial use for the marsh grass with Bubby Duhan's pit, I think it's kind of something that we may be able to navigate the permitting process a little bit easier, but that's something that Karen and I can work on. Monday, we'll call the landowner and see if we can resubmit the application in a different format to like a different entity and see if we can get it approved.
Because it's wasteful, man. How many cubic yards you see you haul out there?
Over 600.
Over parish, I mean, but anyway, don't tell how many, I like to know how much you haul from down here, especially that marsh grass.
It should be right.
Total marsh grass we've hauled so far is, I think it's 60,000 yards. Now, some of that, especially on Little Chenier, is commingled.
Now,
A lot of the marsh grass on Little Chenier is commingled with other trash, houses and all that. It all rots up
but
together.
that all rots and everything,
Yes,
it all
sir.
rots and rust. You did it in Grand Chenier, perfect example is in Patrick Abear's, in Grand Chenier, it was on the ridge. You went over there and you filled that up, made a beautiful ridge again, you know, for Rita we did.
And then we're, hauling there, clean that marsh.
And it's still hauling over there. Now, I don't know if he has any more holes to fill up, what he's doing with it.
Yeah, they still got it to work.
It's still holding that hole?
And it's closer.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. We understand that.
The only problem with the Gator's side is that bridge. We can only use we call them donkey wagons, the smaller pickup trucks, and so it takes a little longer. But then
But what gets me, they haul for 2 weeks out of Grand Chenier, but they won't haul back into Grand Chenier.
that was TFR, that's another contractor. I mean, we don't want our trucks to go, our big trucks, just empty, they're 60,000 pounds.
Right.
And we don't
And
want.
Well, it was Parish Road that y'all picked up in Grand Chenier and hauled out.
We are hauling out the lighter debris, which is your CND and veg, only because with Abear, we are working with them. Our lawyer is working with his
That's
consultant.
all been signed and done, that was a week ago.
Well, they're missing some stuff, so they're trying to wrap that up.
Who's missing some stuff?
Abear, Mr. Abear.
It's not just the DEQ permit.
There's several entities,
We got SHPO, it's not just.
but they're working closely with this consultant, even as of this morning. We were getting responses to that, so.
I get calls every day from them, so I don't know, they figured out everything.
We do.
Well, I like to go to that front ridge, fill the holes up and use it for beneficial to restore that ridge. So, okay, if we can get the,
We agreement on
Yes, sir. We'll work on it.
We support him at that beneficial use, so if we can get it done, we just hope we won't be a roadblock in that process.
No, sir, no, if we have the permits, we are good to go.
Okay.
I would like to also say that I did get an answer on the concrete. Any plain concrete can be beneficially used. So I'll get with Mr. Shane.
we use a bunch of concrete on that front ridge road as
Can it be brought for beneficial use?
We have to, I have to check into that one. I mean, if it's one of the Parrish's property,
Yeah, I think you wants to put
Now,
that.
okay, let me ask you this,
Probably
how would
on
you,
our
how would
own.
you haul that if you could use it? Would we have to be hauling it for beneficial use?
No, sir, no, you guys designate, one location, we get it approved. And then-
Okay, what I'm talking about is, when we talk about beneficial use, we're talking about lining the side of the road or a canal or something. And it would have to be set. I would, you gotta be willing to do that?
I think it would be more like say, we took it to a parish barn or somewhere where,
And
and
then
then
we-
they would just,
okay.
they would just, we're just leaving it.
Well, they should put it in one over there.
We got a ton of roads that need, protection and throughout the whole parish.
Yeah, bring it to a parish home that we walk. Get some equipment to move it later, I guess.
One last question. How y'all been treated? Y'all been treated okay by everybody? Y'all have any issues?
No.
Outside? Everybody's good?
Yeah, everybody's great.
Okay, well, great, great. Okay, guys, good?
I'm good.
All right.
Thank y'all.
No, thank you.
I'm good with
Thank
it.
you.
One of the questions I do have another question, but not for them, it's not for you. It's, state.
Oh, state, yeah.
I talked about, I like to talk about the state, and I've talked to Shane about this already. Because it seemed like they had quit in my area. They're not showing up here. So I'm just wondering, because I've got piles that's been sitting there ever since the storm.
Their first pass is complete, I think, probably what you're talking about.
I'm trying to get a hold of them.
No, they never did the first pass. They never, remember the last meeting, I'm sorry, I jumped Katie and the other guy, that guy over here, and that was the parish. Okay, and it's actually the state, because those piles are still not moved. This is the kind of people that go in one place, pick up a little bit, go in their truck, and give it go somewhere else. That's the state people I'm talking about. Why are they not just going and picking the stuff up like they're supposed to?
We gotta add on that same state stuff. They gotta get some of these ditches opened back up.
Exactly.
We're gonna have,
Exactly.
if we ain't have rain, then I can't tell you how long, measurable amount of rain. But if we get some rainstorms coming here, we're gonna have drainage problems. And most of our parish roads drain to the state roads to get out.
Well, Shane talked to Bory out this morning, but I don't know if that's gonna be good.
I'll call the state debris, I'll call the state debris, removal monitor, his name's Seth, and I'll give them a call.
Well, we have the same concern with them, and I'd like for them to reiterate, third pass, they're gonna clean up, am I correct? Because the people that they're using, are digging some big holes, digging up some, driveways and things of that nature. So if we can get some comments from them that they're gonna do the same thing Siri just said they're gonna do, is repair it back at the last pass, and it'd be really good for us.
And when you pay, off on that same digging ditches, we may have to, well, last time we got FEMA to pay for some of that, to clean, drain ditches, our ditches out, parish road ditches, we gonna pay for a lot of that work. We got ditches again that's gonna have to do the same.
We are already working on that. We contracted Lonnie Harper's office, and he is providing damage assessments and assigning a dollar figure to what they think it's gonna cost to either restore and repair the culvert to pre-storm condition. He's working on that right now. We haven't gotten
Drainage or roads up.
for everything,
Like,
for all the drainage laterals, and then they're looking at all the roads as well. But
I just know-
debris removal company, they're gonna, correct me if I'm wrong, Patty, but aren't you gonna, clean the ditch first too, like one pass, and like regrade it?
Yes.
That's in the contract, so they're gonna do a pass first, where they clean the ditch, and then they're gonna grade it. If we wanna go deeper, then we have to come back.
Now, just real quick, I want to say something to your point about the state. I know that the state has made a pass in the Hollow Beach area. They told us that they would start their second pass once we got the canal, and we're probably working on that now. So I don't know about yours, we might want to get a phone number, we can contact it and find out about the Hackberry area problem.
Okay, there's a website that they have, it's 511la.gov. You can monitor debris. They'll tell you what route they're gonna plant on the next day, what section of highway that they're gonna do each day, and how much they collect each day. So that'll help you see
Could
when
you
you're gonna start.
text that to us, please? That website? So we can-
Because I talked to someone, they plant, they don't put a lot of trucks on the main road because it causes congestion with the traffic. So they're trying to minimize, do the most they can, like 4 trucks, most of them 384. Put more than that, when you got AT&T out there, you got Jeff Davis, so there's a lot of congestion.
I'll take one a day.
Yeah, but the state hurried up and did some debris removal so the highlight people could get in there and actually put the pole down. Now they backed off.
But I've seen that website, and they let you know how much they collect each day and what area they work each day, what they plan. And there's a code, there's a chart, what's first pass, what hasn't even started yet, second pass, third pass. So, and it's all mapped out.
Say it again, Danny.
511 LA.gov.
Katie, I know I called you and asked you about, you submitted to FEMA about going on private property and demoing these houses that need to be demoed. Have you heard anything about that? I mean, I'm getting calls every day that want to know.
Yes, the initial application was for a blanket PPDR, and that was denied, which we anticipated that being denied, but we were gonna ask anyways, where they just go in and you can clean anything. FEMA wants us to follow their traditional PPDR program where we go out, we identify properties, they have to sign an easement, and they have to provide their insurance documents. A lot of these policies provide demolition in their insurance claims, and so if they have it in their insurance policies and endorsement, they have to actually sign over their insurance money to FEMA before FEMA will go and finish demoing their house. So,
What about these that don't have insurance?
right, and they would probably qualify, but it's something that goes through FEMA. We do the application, we get all the paperwork, we submit it through a PW to FEMA, and FEMA decides if it's eligible or ineligible. I spoke with Austin yesterday, and we felt it's best to maybe just wait till the first of the year and let the first pass of all the debris get picked up, and then we'll have a look at what our finances are at that time, because right now we're still gonna be paying 25% of debris removal that doesn't fall within that 30-day window. So we need to see how much that costs first before we start using funds to go do private property improvements and debris removal. So we wanna wait till January.
I'm gonna ask you to let the public know about that, because I don't know about the rest of the guys, but I get calls every day, wanting to know if they're gonna be able to go on the property and demo the houses, and I don't know what to tell them.
And the answer is, we don't know yet. I mean, you can apply through FEMA, but it's ultimately FEMA's decision if they're gonna grant it or not. So in January, like I said, we have kind of did a media push of, check with your insurance company, see if they'll pay to have everything demoed, because if a lot of the insurance companies aren't telling the policyholders that it's an endorsement in their policy for probably good reason. So we're trying to get everyone to start asking about that first and make sure they're using their insurance company first. And so we'll start that in January, but this is not something that happens overnight. This is an application process. You have 2 months of intake applications, then you submit it to FEMA. That's gonna take at least 30 to 60 days for them to process it. So you're looking at June, July if we get it approved, before we even start doing something like that.
It'd be good for you, just let the public know somehow, that's the way it is. But
Right.
everything you just said, I can't remember, so I can't.
Okay. Now, we'll do some more, we've been issuing some guidance, but we'll do another round of it. And I guess the important thing to note is, we already have both Roston and Ceres on retainer as pre-disaster. So in 6 months, once we get all the paperwork together, and that's something that Roston can help us do, we just issue a notice to proceed for them to do this particular program for us. They'll come in and they'll help the staff and do all the pictures, do all the paperwork, and submit it to FEMA. And then if it gets approved, then it's just a notice to proceed to Ceres to come in and pick up certain things. So it'll go quicker once we get the approval than it did for Rita.
The one key thing that needs to get out is what you said about if your insurance pays you to demo this, and you choose not to use your money on that demo and use it somewhere else, but when you gonna ask FEMA, they're gonna pull up your insurance, and they're gonna say, no, you.
That's what I'm saying, they need to know.
So you're right, the public needs to know that those guidelines are out there with the insurance.
And I know,
You're not gonna pull nothing over FEMA.
Right, and I know they didn't do that for Rita, and they didn't do that for Ike, but they do it now. And that's the main complaint we get, was, well, I didn't have to provide anything for Rita and Ike. Well, FEMA got smarter.
I don't know if it didn't cost us a fortune after Rita
It did, and
to have this done, but man, that was
I
a
know there's
mess.
several
That was a
houses
mess.
in my area that needs to be demoed, and they're calling me and asking me if they need to wait or what, so.
And the answer is no, they don't need to wait, because right now, if they have the means to get their house pushed to the road, it's definitely gonna get picked up. If they wait 6 months and go through our program, our PPDR program, if you choose to do that, you still can elect to not do it if it's too expensive. But just because we apply doesn't mean FEMA's gonna approve it. They can still get it denied. So if they can get it done now with their insurance money or with help, it's in their best interest to do it now.
Because later, if they shut it to the road and we through with FEMA, they're gonna have to pay somebody to go get it. We ain't gonna pay for it.
They'll very
Exactly.
dictate whatever they're like that.
I got one.
All right, before we move forward on staff report, I guess we're done with that. I have one card, Bruce Art, like the rest of your.
Yeah, I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank all the Harrison boys.
Come to the mic, please.
Some of us got old ears.
I'll get to that in a second. Nah, I'm Craig Broussard, 2452 Branch Street in Holly Beach. And I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank all the parish employees for doing above and beyond the call of duty. And I wanted to give, I sent some emails and text messages out thanking people, but I wanted to do it public to make sure everybody knew what was going on. I told many of y'all that during these times of stress, you find out really who your family and friends are, and your neighbors and everybody else. So, as y'all all knew, we lost the water tower in Holly Beach, and we're without water initially coming back from Laura. And you know, it was extremely difficult to start recovery processes, but it was extra difficult when you don't have water. I tell everybody, I can make electricity, but I can't make water. And when you have to carry 5-gallon buckets of water, you know, 20 feet up in the air to go to the bathroom, you know, it gets old real quick. And the water peak folks knew the situation. And we'd heard it may be the end of the year, all that stuff. They got it going, you know, through hook or crook within a couple of weeks. And so I just wanted to tell them thank you and much appreciated. And to the power folks, you know, they came in from all over the place. And I've never seen people throw poles and wire up so fast. And then after Delta, recover so fast to getting us electricity. First they didn't want to tell us when they could get us electricity. And then, you know, they said by the end of the year, and they exceeded all expectations by getting it to us much, much quicker. And it's making our recovery process a lot better. And I just wanted to tell you all thank y'all.
Just a real quick, I agree with him, the linemen have been exceptional. But the water tower, with your guys' good luck, just happened to fall on top of the valve setting. And they had to get an engineer before they could move it off the valve setting. But if it would have fell anywhere else, we'd have had water to you in the first week or two, I think. So anyway, it's just the way things happen.
That's right. Thank you.
All right, with that, we'll move on to staff report.
Start off with exceptionally good news. Thanks to your representative and your senator, I think we have Representative Boyock in the audience today. They advocated for Cameron Parish to receive $250,000 to use in disaster recovery. So that's something that you'll see perhaps on the December agenda, intergovernmental agreement between us and the state of Louisiana to accept that money, and that's something that we can use on disaster recovery. It's unrestricted. We can put it toward any project. That's something that we'll let you guys vote on. I mean, the staff's gonna probably recommend use it to offset the non-federal share. It's gonna be very expensive for everyone in the parish, and so that's something that everyone would benefit from. But again, we'll meet about it in December, and we'll try to have a few different options for you guys to vote on how to best use it in Cameron Parish. So you wanna take a second and thank Brian, and, I think I embarrassed him. I didn't think that was possible.
You got a mask on, you can't
He
take
gonna get you back there.
Yeah, his cheeks are red. I can tell he's embarrassed. So, moving on to operations. Thanks to you guys for letting us do some hiring, some immediate hires. We added an administrative assistant in our road and bridge department. Her name is Courtney Abair. And she started a few weeks ago, and she and Emily have really hit the ground running, and she is doing an exceptional job. We hired in our accounting and admin department Hagen Miller. I think I introduced him to all the staff, and he's freshly out of college, 21 years old, graduated from Sewell in business administration, so he's going to be a very good for our team. We promoted Wendy. She was part-time employment for the last few years. We bumped her up to full-time employment. So Wendy Harrington, she's actually here. I think I introduced her last meeting. She's been taking over handling all the insurance claims and building repairs, and kind of being that liaison for all the entities coming in, funneling through here, and with our HDA, which is our PW firm. We reclassed Eric Gaspard, who was animal control. We reclassed him to road and bridge. So he's been working part-time with Miss Emily. She also hired a full-time employee, Atlas Simon, in the Johnson Bayou, Hackberry area, Hackberry. And then she hired another part-time person, Bailey Trahan, and he's helping out in which district, Emily? All over. He goes wherever she tells him to. And then Miss Mary Carroll hired Grant Gilbo. He'll start Monday. He's going to assist Monty and James in facility maintenance. I think this is just too much work for two people to handle. We felt like, he has some experience, an electrician and stuff, so we feel like he could be added value to the team, and learning from Mr. James hands-on with the generators and keeping the elevators and everything running in the square. I think she got an announcement. Don't you have someone retiring?
Our foreman from Johnson Bayou, Tony Graham, his last day is today. He's going into the office and sign his papers.
You'll be here today.
No, sir, he's going to James. I don't think I'll see him ever again unless I meet him on the road. He said thank you, but he's not home.
So we'll have to have some staff meetings and figure out what our plan is on replacing him. And we also, in the permitting department, they had probably the most change out of any department. Miles asked to have Wesley Kibido, who was assistant superintendent for Miss Emily. He's been transferred to the permitting department, and he's been doing inspections with Miles and Randy. And I think it's working out pretty well. And then they also hired Jolie Boudreau to be a permitting admin assistant. And she started, the day she came in to do her paperwork, she actually stayed and worked a full day.
Who is that?
Jolie Boudreau.
Joey.
So those are all the new faces that you're gonna see when you guys come back in December, because the game plan is, as long as we can get electricity on in time, we're gonna try and start moving the staff back in slowly in December, and then we'll try to reopen normal hours in January. So that's we still have our temporary building rented through the end of the year. We'll still work. A few of us will kind of start slowly transitioning here. Some will still stay in Jennings. We surprisingly have a lot of our residents stop in at Jennings and permit all the time. It's very convenient for them traveling in, so we want to keep that office open as long as possible, as long as there's people that are just showing up for permitting reasons. The clerk of court notified me she's going to start opening in the courthouse daily, Monday through Friday, our normal office hours. And the judge's office, they actually had court on the 5th, the 9th, and the 10th, and they're going to have court again on the 17th and the 23rd in our room. They're using our meeting room right now while while the courthouse is being restored.
They're doing the roof.
Yes. we should have, we hope we have the roof repaired in the courthouse and the judge can go back and have court in January. That's the goal. But I will follow up with any updates. Are there any questions about our operations? Go ahead. Yes, sir.
I got a couple of questions. Well, I guess it's not about your operations, but I got a complaint, and it started from the water in Big Pasture across on the island. And they're and doing some little investigation work. I talked with Jake, the superintendent down in that water district, and he's saying that he's been for like 2 weeks trying to get energy out there to put in 2 poles to where he can get a permanent, so they can get that water system certified back up regularly. He said he's got 2 issues. He's got electrical issue and he's got chlorine issue. But he said if he can get his poles back, energy to come out and put his poles back and new transformers, he could manually put chlorine and get DHH to approve that water system. So he told me that he contacted Energy and he's been waiting. They called him, they told him that they have to get an engineer out to the site to place the poles. The engineer tells him he's gonna be there on a certain day, don't hear nobody from him, he calls, he does all this, and he's pretty much exhausted. So we need to put some push on our representative to get, that is important that we got good water. It's a shame that an engineer from Energy is gonna keep us from getting good water on the island.
Okay.
So I want you to work on that,
Okay.
if you don't mind. And
We'll give them a call. I said, yes, sir, we'll give them a call today and find out what's going on.
try to get a push on that.
Anybody else have that? Okay.
Camtel, service to the island.
The last update I have is, that they're working on, they're gonna have to replace the line underneath the intercoastal, and they're working on it. We actually don't even have, internet to this building right now either. They're having some issues. They're having to restore some lines everywhere in the parish, but they're working on it. They're working as fast as they can.
To try to get a permit,
Try to get a what?
a permit to bore into the intercoastal.
Mhm.
Is that the whole road?
For the island, or no, they just have mass outages throughout the entire parish, and their employees are stretched pretty thin right now. They're working their way, they're trying to get cameras back up and running with the internet for all the buildings. That's kind of what they're prioritizing right now, but they are working on a permit to get the island back up. In the meantime, most of the school kids, they were given hotspots and stuff to try to help get them through so they can do their virtual learning. And we do have a request in to maybe get a tower located over there to project a hotspot. The only thing is you'll have to actually drive into the parking lot. We got permission from Father Gaddy to put a tower in his church parking lot. And now we're just trying to find a tower. We're trying to get one donated to us.
I want to add to that Camtel stuff. I had a couple people ask me if there's anything we can do. They're the only carrier in Cameron Parish, right? There's a contract on it, right? If I'm not mistaken. We need to see what we can do about opening it up and get some more carriers in there. They got some more work to come. But
Suddenly, huh?
so
Get it kept down there.
AT&T's want to run fiber, but they know Cameron Communications has it. Camtel is no longer owned by local.
Right, okay. We'll take a look at it.
Yeah.
They pay their franchise tax. They pay about $85,000 a year of franchise taxes to the parish for their service.
That's probably why I paid $240 a month. Phone and cable TV and I didn't think that was even, I didn't think you could do that. Can you do that?
It was done have a folder in my office, I'll pull it out and let you guys look at it. It's an agreement, like a franchise agreement and everything.
Would you kind of stay up on that?
Yes, sir, I sure will.
And I don't wanna put the lip on camera communications, but competition is always good for the public.
Yeah, well, you still can get satellite, you can do like Dish Network and DirecTV and get internet through them and use that.
I have a couple other things here. One is, I'd like to add on to the voter meeting this afternoon to another record have one resign, so I can replace. If we could ever add on. And he just called, so I'm waiting, I'm gonna come back, and if it don't, we'll table it.
Yeah, we'll need something in writing.
He's a big asset to the
You got that, Mary?
Oh, it's you? Oh, okay.
And, where do we stand with the insurance for the rec center? They're ready to open up this meeting. Have we got anything, any word from any insurance adjusters or?
We did. Okay, well, I mean, we don't have any individual insurance premiums claims that were paid out. We got a $5 million advance, and that's all we've gotten. We have no way of reconciling it to each individual entity. We're waiting on the insurance company to tell us what percentage to divvy up the $5 million, but we don't have anything yet. We're just not comfortable divvying it up without something from the insurance
So they
company.
give us $5 million in advance, but they won't tell you how to divvy it up.
Yeah,
Well, what's the good to
Yeah.
having the $5 million
I know.
if you can't give it out?
the only policies that we received where it's easy to reconcile it to an entity are the flood insurance policies, because they're individual policies, so those are easy, but anything under our umbrella policies, they're just giving us advance and they're not giving us any type of settlement
Next
statement.
month, I would like for somebody to give us a report on all our public buildings and our public, where we at, what we lost. Because I don't really know what Thomas lost in Grand Engineering, and I probably don't know what they lost in Hackberry and Johnson Bayou. I'd like to get a report and just our public buildings, fire stations, stuff like that, what kind of damage they got.
We do have a report that's not finalized yet that we're working on. Miss Wendy and Mary have been working on it. And once we have it all finalized and we start allocating, like, okay, this is how much insurance money has, these are the repairs that need to be made, and we have estimates, we were gonna give you guys a full report on everything parish-wide. It's looking like December before we can get that to you.
Will it list insured items, non-insured items?
And we can get at the meeting a condensed report
And we'll try to,
for
each
what
entity.
buildings, how many buildings was damaged and to what extent, and insurance versus us out of our pocket.
now we have the raw data that we can give you today, which is just a spreadsheet that kind of just, you can kind of follow along, but it's not complete, like, not every single building from every entity has the information in it, but we can give you what we have today.
I like a report, a verbal report
Okay.
during the meeting,
December,
if you can.
is December fast enough?
No, I'll sit for the next meeting.
Okay, we were working on it for December, but,
I'm gonna interrupt real quick, I think my state representative might want to address this for something. Am I correct in that?
before he talks, can I just wrap up that topic, because it's relevant? We did procure, starting today, we're advertising for an RFQ to procure an architect to help us develop the scope of work on the buildings that both Monty and Mr. James don't feel comfortable with the quotes that are being provided. I think it's something that needs to be engineered, like by an architect, the damage, then we're gonna have this architect that we choose in December to develop the scope of work and do all the bidding for us. So this is something that's,
I think as the years, we need to really, when it comes to the
Right.
PWs, and if we got PWs on certain things, we need to analyze of what we're gonna put back, where we're gonna put it.
yes, that's all gonna happen in
Because of
December.
Because of, I think, we need to really population to what we put back?
Yes.
What proposed?
Well, we're gonna have several different options, but we've already been working together with each entity about using, instead of going back and putting temporary buildings for every office that's left, bumping up with someone else that still has one, using like consolidated governmental buildings in each place, so not everyone has to have their own office. Do that on a temporary basis, and then start looking at maybe combining a lot of those structures into one structure.
That
Like
just
water,
makes-
fire,
it just-
ambulance, one
That makes
building.
good sense. We want everybody to have good water coverage and fire coverage and everything else, but not everybody needs
Yes.
their own office that costs X amount of dollars when they can drive down the road and come by.
Correct.
We always look at that.
Yeah, we've been doing that.
That's a good idea.
Yep.
Let me ask you.
We'll present it at the December meeting. That's what our plan was, to try to have everything together and present it to you guys at the December 8th meeting. Not December 8th, December 10th.
Was on that issue, it looks like that could be a long and lengthy meeting. Do we need a special meeting for that?
We could call one, but the only thing we have on the December agenda so far, it seems like it's gonna be a pretty short meeting, and we don't have, we won't have a budget meeting, we won't have a board review meeting, so we'll have most of the day. If it needs to go longer, we can.
But we do it this meeting, we move on to the second meeting.
Yeah, we'll look at it, Mr. Sun. If you think we need to, we can call it that day.
I mean, if everybody's okay with trying to do it at our meeting, I'm good with that.
We can do it like in,
Going over this, it's get drawn out.
We get started an hour early.
Yeah.
We don't have to get started at 10.
right.
Get started at 9.
We can have a special meeting maybe in between the meetings too, for the people that aren't interested. If they're just solely interested in the development plan for all the offices, we'll have that meeting like at 12. And that way people can come to that one, and they don't have to come to the 10 one if they don't want to. But I'm sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
How about the grant?
You interrupted me though.
You already talked about it.
Sonny.
I'm just talking in general, all over the parish. After Rita, we built things that, big things that we probably should have thought a little more clearly about at the time. You know what I'm saying? And I think we just need to make sure we do things in every community that sustains that community, but don't go blow something up just because they got the money or something else. These PWs, you could use them as alternate projects. You take less money, but you can move that money around to other parts of the parish to do different things.
We definitely are looking at that, not only with buildings, with drainage boards as well, and laterals and doing some.
For an example, I would say, I don't even know how bad the Cameron Barn is tore up. I don't even know. But if it's tore up where you gotta tear it down and build it back up, you may want to think about where your population's at and where it would be best built at. It might need to be built back in Grand Lake or Hackberry because your population.
You got that big green board and stuff smashed up there. They ain't never left that big board. It got
Okay, well-
down here.
No, I understand. But are we gonna build it back here and make everybody that lives in the North Port of Parish drive over here?
Right.
When there ain't but 20 homes over there? That's what I'm saying.
Now you see why I think it might be a special meeting.
Okay, so, special meeting, but we hear you, Mr. Lee, we've been
I
working
ain't
on
trying to
that.
take nothing from nobody. I
Yes,
just
sir.
think we ought to make sure we're thinking about.
Yep,
actually what
absolutely.
we're doing.
I have reborn though, we'll have to do something reborn. Cameron, Griffier, and Delta
I can,
Grand Lake, not Delta Lake.
I can assure you though, Mr. Lee, that every time we have a meeting, the first thing that we talk about is, we don't want to get back what we have, we want to get back better. And that's always, we start the meeting and we're like, okay, let's don't talk about what we're doing. Things weren't perfect before Laura anyway, so how do we do it better than Laura? We don't want to get back to before Rita, we don't want to get back to before Laura, we want to get back to a new Cameron. So that is
Yeah,
something that we all
That thinking
talk
after
about.
Rita it was like, we're gonna build it back like it was, instead of build it back what we need.
Yeah, and
So
better.
if we come in with that understanding of, you can build back what you need, not what you had, but what you need is a better concept to go in.
I don't know, like I said, this meeting could get out of hand, but
It's-
I think if I'm not mistaken, and Brother Moore and Grand Lake will have to read it, that was one of the decisions we
It
made.
was built, Rita,
We moved units
Rita
in
built
May
that without us.
2006.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that came out, we didn't think
y'all did really well after reading it, and we can do it better now.
For the school board, for the parish, and for the.
Go ahead, Ron.
I mean, there you go, perfect.
Can we move on?
Yep, let's see what Ryan has to say. I'm hoping it's good news.
So you up? You up?
Yeah.
Do we have to add something for agenda now to vote on?
We can do an add-on if it's
I'd
unanimous.
like to do an add-on about, getting us a station and a store in Creo about a variance, you know?
Oh, well, that's
Variance
gonna,
has to be advertised.
Huh?
Variance has to be advertised, and they gotta apply.
maybe you and Miles
But
can
it's got,
talk.
I mean, but yeah, but it's gotta be advertised, or you can talk about it now and
You
then.
can talk about it now, but they have to go through permitting before we can even put it on the agenda, so it's not an hour until they go through the process.
Oh, okay, so we might have to wait next month.
Yes, sir.
What do you got?
You can talk about it. You can talk about it.
Okay. I just like to, you know, Creo, we don't have nothing, Grand here, they're talking about maybe not even coming back, they want to lease their place. That's through the grapevine, I'm not sure. But anyway, Creo, John's willing to build his store back and put us some pumps there that works off a cord at the other place. And, God, we need something, we don't have nothing, we can't buy groceries, we can't get gas, you know what I mean? And, at first, a lot of people wasn't coming back, but now I'm getting phone calls, I gotta be, what I gotta do, you know? So there's more people now coming back than what I initially thought would. And, you know, to have a community, you gotta have those things. And, I know they say, oh, well, that don't make no difference, go up 14 feet. But when you only got a small amount of people to help pay for that thing and keep it open, this is not feasible, you know? And I know FEMA says, oh, money's not an issue. If it's just about money, well, then you can't do it. But there's gotta be ways. And I know for a fact, when I was in here last time, we give the school board variance to put the concession stand on the ground in the football field. Remember that, Scott? And then we give PHI variance to go for their helicopters, you know? I mean, so it's in our legal rights to give a variance. You know, it's not like say, oh, if you give a variance, well, then we're gonna lose all our insurance. No. Unless they've changed it since then, no. So we've given variances before, and I don't see.
You give variances, we gave variances that's acceptable to what the FEMA regs are, okay? That those were acceptable, they accepted it, there was no other way they could do it, but a store, and that's not gonna fly. I mean,
Okay.
but it's y'all's.
It's our decision to send it in and try.
That's right, that's right.
Okay.
But I'm gonna reach out to FEMA before y'all even vote on this, because they need to know that what the jury's fixing to do.
Yeah.
And there'll probably be some repercussions, I'm just gonna say
But
that.
how, I mean, wait, you're saying it, Miles, but if you read the code of ordinance, it says that we, in our legal rights, we have a right to file for
You
it.
sure do, that's right.
Okay.
You do.
And that's what I wanna do, I wanna file for it.
Well,
I don't wanna go
whoever's-
tell people a bunch of stuff before we even do it.
Whoever's gonna file for it has to apply for it. They need the paperwork from the permitting office.
Right.
They need to get it and put it in their hand, and they gotta sign it and fill it out and state the reason why they need to be located below the basic level elevation.
Okay,
And that's got it, okay, then y'all can approve it. Then when I said that we gotta send all these variances to FEMA.
Right.
Region 6, the mitigation. When they get it now, there's gonna be, I would check on this before we even, vote on
Miles, can you?
it. I wanted y'all to be aware, I mean.
I understand, okay, but
Yeah.
I heard, well, he's got a restaurant, so he can't be on the ground. But we sold food out of the concession stand at the high school, I mean, we give them a variance and they're allowed it.
It's up to y'all, that's strictly up to y'all, I'm just telling you. But if
Well, I
y'all
mean,
want me to
we can
reach
fill it
out
out
to,
and we can do our job to try to help the parish, and if they reject it, then we can take another step after that, because we can't appeal it.
well, whenever y'all get one variance, then you gotta give a variance for the stores across the street, all
Might
them,
be,
and
might be,
them.
and that's what it's gonna
And
take.
then what's gonna happen next is,
Exactly.
it's a possibility you're gonna be put on probation. Probation means they're gonna take your flood insurance and Grand Lake and mine and whoever has a
I
market.
understand that, but
And they're gonna add to it.
that's the way to scare the people, Miles, I'm not buying that.
Well-
This is the deal, it's in our legal rights for us to challenge that and go and try to get us one.
Yes,
And
it
if
is.
we can't, and they turn it down, it's in our legal rights to appeal it.
FEMA ain't gotta turn it down, it's up to y'all, it's y'all's
Okay, but
argument.
that's what I'm saying, but you just said, Phil, that they're not gonna, approve it. But it's up to us if we wanna do it.
They're not gonna approve of it, but
They might go, okay, that's a different, they might not gonna approve of it.
and there can be
but it's in-
consequences, but
it's
there's
our legal-
consequences there could be some consequences down the road.
Could be, and it's our legal right And it's in the law books that we can do that.
It's in the
Now, if
ordinance.
we give a few variances and, they come back and say, oh, we ain't gonna sell you flood insurance, that's not gonna fly, because we can appeal that, you know? There's ways to do it.
Y'all the voting members, how many?
Is there something about being on a waterway?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's, I forget what I didn't even print on that, I couldn't print it, but I get the whole, I get y'all the whole, the variance part of it and print it out and give it to you, I'll read it up front.
An emergency clause in there that allows you to do certain things in an emergency situation. Or we just have a straight out permitting. Is there a way to do this because we don't have anything? So.
I'm not gonna set up
to
a
me, that's
temporary
an
gas
emergency.
pump or
I don't know
something like that.
Just everybody else, but to me, that's an emergency. Is there a way?
But it's gonna be a permanent emergency. Permanent deal, I mean.
Is there money in there?
Well, there's grants, there's always grants for, I mean, I don't know about commercial, but residential, they offer grants for elevation. It's gonna be offered again on this, after these storms that just hit us, you know?
FEMA doesn't help the business. I ain't never got a nickel on the business. So they're not gonna help you elevate that if you're, commercial. They'll help the parish as a government entity, they're not gonna help you.
Or maybe an SBA loan or something, I don't know.
But I think it's something
Okay.
you can check into before
Yeah.
we do anything. I mean, I wanna help any business that wants to come back down and not make them elevated, if that's the case. But I also don't wanna put our whole parish in jeopardy for issuing one variant or this one or that one. I mean, that's something I think Miles can find out, maybe get somebody down here with FEMA and talk with us and.
Well, bunch of residential homes, people gonna want a variance for that, man. You're gonna give this one, this one, that one.
But, I mean, we haven't actually got an application from anybody about a variance, so, I mean, let's not be too hypothetical. Let's wait till we get an actual application and then we can start looking at it. and see.
The permit, I'm guessing we permitted the building into Y. Was that, did that meet the elevations?
Yes, sir, I did, yes.
We'll look at that.
No, you don't like it, gosh.
Yeah.
Yep, I got the permit on it, they met elevation.
Oh, yeah, the buildings in the back,
Yeah.
I think we get one about that in here, and that was the PHI.
For the helicopter hangar.
For that hangar, they couldn't bring the helicopter to the car.
So, do we need to take action
yeah.
on
No,
this?
we just gotta file it first.
Yeah, he needs to apply for one
But you
first.
see how involved these discussions can get, and there's gonna be a lot of them at this meeting, so I'm not saying I want to go about a special meeting.
Duly noted, Mr. Sonny, we'll have a special
I think
meeting.
I think we beat that one long enough.
Yep.
Are you ready now?
Ryan's legs are tired.
Hey, y'all were filibustering me. If y'all don't want me to talk, all y'all do is tell me y'all didn't want me to talk. 5 minutes, start the clock. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't at least bring up Darrell Williams today. First time in over 30 years that we held a police jury meeting without Darrell on the staff. And so I know this morning pulling up to the building, it's a little bit different for me for sure. I know we all miss him, but I guess he's better off. On Thursday, this upcoming Thursday, the 19th, the State Bond Commission is having a meeting to issue cash lines of credit. The new Cameron Ferry is on the agenda for $2.5 million for a cash line of credit in state funds, no local match, which will get us one step closer to finalizing the design to move to construction. So we're looking at an 8-month time frame is what we're being told to finish the design of the vessel. But that's going to be state funded, and so that's a big vote for this parish that's coming up on Thursday. So we're going to continue monitoring that. That's a $16 million project, and right now we have $10 million in priority 2 in capital outlay, which of that 25% is going to move to cash. And then the next session, we have to come back and fight again to get another increase in that cash line of credit to get us closer and closer to construction. So I wanted to let you know that your support of those projects has led us to convincing people in Baton Rouge it's an important expenditure for the state to consider. And so we're getting closer every day. So just wanted to say
I want to remind you that 90% of that is due to our representative. He's the one getting that done.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'll do that. So it's good. Other than that, we have another $50,000 that's going to the Cameron Waterworks. We all know the issues that the Cameron districts had with the quality of water. I don't know how long ago that started, but there's also a $50,000 grant that's coming to them in the same process that Ms. Armstrong referenced. For that $250 for the police jury, $50,000 is going to go also separately to Cameron Waterworks. I'm pretty sure it's to install a new well. They're having some issues with the two older ones. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ron. I do have one more question for the staff.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, if it's a question, I just have 3 announcements. Okay, so the, next Tuesday, November 17th, we're having a public meeting here from 1 to 3 o'clock. And CPRA revised their approach to the Calcasieu Ship Channel Salinity Control Measure Project. So they're going to be unveiling their revised approach at that meeting. It's for all landowners, stakeholders, and they asked me to invite any of you that would like to attend.
What is that, just short, is that the levee between the ship channel and the lake?
Yes, and they had weirs, and they had, is Kara here? She's more familiar with the project.
She's helping
That we've been this has been a project for like 2 or 3 years. It's been ongoing. They wanted to close in, put some weirs through the old little gap. They weren't going to do the rocking of the levee. It was just to try to control the salinity going into the lake. After a lot of modeling that they've been doing, they've taken information from the fishermen, commercial fishermen that attended the last meeting. They've been working with them one-on-one, and they feel like they could probably change their approach and eliminate some of the project and use some restore funds as well and do some different type projects. I'm not really sure exactly what the changes are now. That's something they're gonna present Tuesday. So I encourage you and anyone in the public that has any interest in this project to please attend, because it is going to look vastly different than what they've been telling us for the last 2 years.
Kate, I got a question. When we talk about the fisheries and stuff, I see Mr. Philip back there, his son, with this Calcasieu deal. Where are we at on the, Philip been talking to me a while back about the shale deal over here? About not want to buy the shrimp and stuff, or what's going on with the ice plant, and y'all know anything?
No, I haven't been apprised of any issues with Cameron Fisheries. We are just the title owner though. Cameron Port and the operator are the ones that have the lease agreement. So
Do you have any information on that, what's going on?
You have it.
No, anyway, Philip.
I'm gonna roll up my pants. No, if someone else wants to speak, they certainly can. I don't have to.
No, Phil had talked to me a while back about, and I've seen him back there, maybe we think about it, was
Sure.
about the fisheries, what's going on with the ice, and they don't want to buy crabs, not buying shrimp.
So I don't know if any of you guys have been in the fisheries facility since Laura and Delta to see some of the issues there, some of the damages. According to Challenge along with Tommy's Seafood, as of 10:43 a.m., they just got their second generator running 2 days ago and had problems with the first one for weeks. They have one ice machine working and nowhere near enough ice built up to sell just yet, but I visited with Kay via text after that to make sure that nobody would be refused ice. She assured me of that. So Kay and Terry Piku are the managers of the facility for the operator, Tommy's Seafood. So that's all the information that I have. The Port Commission will, at their next meeting, adopt their emergency declaration resolution so that we can move forward with hiring an emergency project manager. And so we'll work with Mary and Katie to have that facility assessed thoroughly more than I have the capacity to do so that we can submit, because remember that is a community development block grant funded facility, the construction, along with police jury dollars. So we can submit that for the damages to be reimbursed. So we will work on that together. But as of now, if somebody calls or approaches the fisheries facility, if they have ice, they're telling me that they will sell them ice. So that's all the information I have.
The one that sells shrimp. Don Bailey, Bolo, Melinda, Mark Valentina, didn't take a year to buy shrimp. The thing was there for the fishermen, not for the crab fishermen, not for the snapper fishermen, for all the fishermen. Every fish house around the world hauls ice in by 18
So I
months.
wanted to come to the
Except
mic.
Cameron, except this new fish house. A year ago, I gave this fish house to this guy called Tommy Seafood. We had Bolo in here for years, Don Bailey in here for years. All he needs is a hanging scale and a bad ice. You can't got the ice, you haul ice in like that all the other shops do. Mark Valentina, Belinda done it for years and years and years. This guy buys crabs every day, he buys snappers all the time. They haul ice in for that. We got to haul ice from the Hackberry by boat or by truck. That fish house there was put for the fishermen. If he don't want to buy from the fishermen, he needs to go on. Or put somebody, he ain't up to his contract. His contract was to buy flounder, shrimp, oysters, whatever it was to come in. He will not buy them. He bought twice. He bought shrimp twice at that place. Her uncle, a good friend of mine, Joe Higgins, I don't have a problem with Joe. We grew up all our lives together. The problem is, whatever is convenient for this guy to buy. Now, is it right for us to lose a day and a half, lose a day of fishing, to haul shrimp here, haul shrimp to Delta? I haul shrimp all the way to Dulac. And I've been doing it since Hurricane Rita, because he won't buy. If he don't want to buy, y'all need to put him down the road and put somebody else down. Ted Pico, he was gonna take the shop, y'all wouldn't let him have it, because they didn't have nobody to back him up with money. This guy comes, supposed to have a bunch of money, he won't spend a penny. He bought Terry Pico's gasoline generator because he took his home. He didn't want to lose it for the storm. Is that right to them people? No, it's not right to them people.
Why won't he buy shrimp?
He's not ready. He tells us he's not ready. You got to haul in ice every day to buy crabs and buy a snapper. One of the snapper fishermen right there. I ain't got nothing against none of the fishermen. If he can buy a snapper, he can buy a crab, he can buy a shrimp.
Oh, he's saying he's not ready.
He's not ready. Before the hurricane, he was there 6 months with electricity, with ice. I'm not ready. What's the problem? He was on TV, May. I got my shovel in my hand, I'll be there for the fishermen. He ain't been there for us, for the crab fishermen. If he don't want to buy it, I need to pull the shop from him, give it to somebody else. If not, if the shop is there for the fishermen, move his ass over. Give the other shop to Belinda, C. Bob, anybody. Put somebody in to buy the local shrimp from the fishermen. Terry Pico been wanting to buy it. Tell him I go there and talk to this guy. I tell him, dude, when you gonna buy shrimp? I ain't ready. Terry said, look, man, all we need is a scale. We got a vat. We haul the shrimp most of the time by hand anyway.
I talked to Terry, and Terry said, all he's gotta get me is a hanging scale. He said, you know, we bought shrimp like that for years, but he wants this big fancy thing that's gonna go through there and separate the shrimp on different sizes and all that, so he claims he's not ready. But Terry worked for him, and he's there, Terry's willing to buy the shrimp. I mean, you know, but maybe this guy don't have a market to go with him somewhere. I don't know what the deal is, but he's wanting a certain system before he starts buying.
I've been on this
That's
guy,
killing.
I've been on this guy for 30 years, the guy that owns this place. He bought from Raleigh Bang, he bought from Nick Price, he bought from a bunch of the fishermen. And he bought shrimp run straight, and he bought shrimp graded. So this is bull. I mean, if he don't want to buy the shrimp, he needs to go on. We'll put somebody else on the side of him, and he buys crabs in one spot. Let somebody else, K, whoever. If not, put somebody in there. We shouldn't go out our way a day of work. Run Delk and do like with a truck. Done load shrimp, and we own a fish house right there.
But that's why
I'm
we
talking
put
for all
a
the
building
fishermen.
there, was to help the fishermen.
Well, we not getting help. We've been a year in it, and I ain't sold a shrimp there yet. I'm one of the best fishermen around this town, one of the best ones. There's 4 or 5. And I ain't sold a shrimp there yet.
If I can make a suggestion, what I would like to see happen is, since the Port Commission was responsible to select the operator, the police jury is a fiduciary agent, if you'll allow for us or agree for us to visit with Max, perhaps, and Max is looking at, I'm hitting you cold with it, Max. Perhaps Mr. Barrett to take a cursory look at the contract to make sure that, because it already went through legal review before it was executed to begin with in January, take a look at that contract and highlight the measures that we can hold them accountable for. They're in there. I'm not an attorney, so I don't want to speak like one. And then work with Katie, Mary, our current DA staff, our newly elected DA, and quickly put a plan together for, because it's clear that the managers are willing. We may need to clarify some things with our operator. Does that sound
It's
okay?
taking clarification, that it's already, whenever we give them that facility, it was there. And what has changed since then? They've only
Nothing.
bought shrimp twice, it doesn't make sense.
From a fishing boat, they was loading shrimp on the truck. They was leaving with the truck with the crabs and they loaded the shrimp on the truck. I talked to Joe, I talked to him every day. He said, look, man, I said, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at these people for not buying our seafood. These shrimp for a living, Thomas shrimp for a living. How would you like to come in after you work the 12 hours a day and load your shrimp up and drive 6 to 12 hours? You tired from the next day, buddy.
Does this take any action from the jury other than giving them blessing?
No, just the blessing, and we'll go ahead and call, Mary and I have it, and Claire as well. We all have a working relationship with Shaylin from Tommy's Seafood, and we'll see if we can give them a call and see, you know, if there's more to the story and what we can work out. I know there's a lot of damage in the building that we've been working with him, trying to resolve through PWs, but, I mean, he's right, it doesn't take anything but ice to buy shrimp from a shrimper, so.
Yeah, here's my point. Even
We'll-
though
we'll
he's
see what we
not
can work out with
100%,
them.
He can still buy shrimp.
Yeah, 'cause we bought them off the
Yeah.
wooden dock, but
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And while I'm here, if you'll allow me, I think it's very important that our commercial fishermen clearly state what they need. Communicating directly with the managers of the facility and saying, I need this much ice on this day. Can you have it for me? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, great, everybody's good, we keep moving forward. If the answer is no, why is the answer no? That's my responsibility to find that out. So what I'm being told by the operator and the manager right now, the 1043 text, they talked about the conversation with, I think Rooster, you talked to Terry yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, about ice going to New Orleans. But there was some kind of miscommunication about actually needing the ice, and we gotta put it into that. So, everybody said it, everybody's in agreement. This is a facility that's supposed to benefit Cameron Parish fisheries, commercial fisheries, and that is what is gonna happen. So,
Well, the
That's
point
right.
is to make sure it does.
yes, sir.
We don't want our fishermen up here complaining to us about the shrimp shop or the port. We want it handled, take care of it, make sure these guys get treated right, and move on.
Roger that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So the next announcement that we need to make is the Chamber and the Southwest Louisiana Economic Development Alliance. They are launching a Pathway to Small Business Recovery Grant. The application deadline is November 30th, and it's available to all small business owners that reside in Cameron and Calcasieu Parish. You have to be in operation for at least 2 years, and you have to have less than 25 employees, and you have to fill out the application and just write exactly what you plan to, how you plan to use the grant. I put the applications on the table in the back. We're gonna post it to our website already, and we're gonna do a heavy media push for it, but I encourage you to let everyone know this is open to all Cameron Parish small business owners. And the deadline is November 30th, so you have to get the application completed and turned in, and if anyone needs help with anything, then our staff will be glad to help them complete the application, fax it, email it, whatever they need to do. I know it's hard right now with we don't have electricity in the South Cameron area, and a lot of people don't have their computers or internet, so they can come to the office in Jennings, or they can schedule an appointment here, and we can help get the application turned in before the November 30th deadline.
Contact person.
Contact me.
I talked with Senator John Kennedy's person that reaches out. Matter of fact, she called me and wanting to know everything was going good and everything. And I got on that intercoastal waterway kick about, and I was wanting to make sure all the jury knows that how important it is to have that intercoastal bridge. That water, since that storm, is not coming down. East Creel's got to be flooded. I mean, we got water in Grand Lake that should have been going a long time ago. And I think they had the perfect storm for the Corps to lift that water and keep it high. We got to get that intercoastal bridge to get rid of this water on this side of the bridge. Keep the locks open on it. They won't let it down.
Well, not only that, when I was coming around the corner right there, North Creole, where the gates are, there's so much debris and mud right there. How's it get out of this marsh now?
That intercoastal cannot drain through that canal. It's got to drain through them lock systems. On Hermitage and on the Calcasieu and
But there is still some openings going south, and
No,
they can't get through that marsh.
I know, but it just don't let the water go down.
I know.
Creole will never drain
Nope.
until the north goes down.
They're doing this drain right now, they have a bunch of people throwing cans in it.
They've been out there for days.
But it's at that point now, talking to school, and it's as low as the river stage is gonna get, so the rest of the water that we have will be evaporation rate. That, or we'd have to get a strong northern, and we're gonna get 2 or 3 days of flushing out, but when after that's gonna come right back up, so he said we're low, we're gonna get down.
Yeah, but we can't accept that. We can't accept that.
We did that at every chance we get.
I just wanted to mention that I talked to Senator Kennedy's spokesperson, and I'll tell her everything I know about that intercoastal and getting the meeting. She said she was going to pass it on.
Just the last thing, it's kind of good news. So they're mobilizing the crews to go work on the Rockefeller Extension Project. That's the last of our disaster CDBG funds through ICE. So they are mobilizing over the next few weeks, and they should be finished by March. And when they finish March, they're gonna make the track over to Little Florida and do the last phase of our Gomez-funded shoreline protection project in Little Florida.
Good. Has anybody seen what they've done? The last time they did what they said they couldn't do, they made a continuous wall for probably a quarter mile, maybe half a mile, below. See how that's going to work? Where at? Right there, that's all.
Long Beach.
Somebody get out.
That's on the agenda today to accept substantially complete. So that project's finished. That's it.
Okay. One last question. I have one last question, Mr. Miles, I'm talking to Miles about this. The letters that went out with the FEMA inspectors, got your name on.
Yes, sir.
You want to address those? I'd like to just sit and take good notes on this, because everybody's asking about those. They think that might be a condemnation letter. It says in there somewhere that they can be fined if they do repairs without permit. and then offer it out. So is there a way you could address that, kind of alleviate some fear?
That's a broad letter, so it's kind of generic, what they use across the board. I don't mean nothing about fines, but we had to do this after Rita and Ike. It's called substantial damage estimate on structures. It's homes or residential, residential or commercial. It's FEMA contractors. It's a team that goes out, and it's a tool that they're gonna put together. They're doing an estimate on the home or the business of the damage that was done to it. And they input all this information into a system that, once they're done, is given to the parish permitting department to help for rebuilding and permits and telling us an amount of damage to this structure. It's only structure located in a special flood hazard area, not next zone, this special flood hazard area. If the structure's gone, they know it's 100%. If the structure's there and it looks good, and they're gonna do a percent damage. They got a form of checklist. They go down and they check it, and then they go sit back at the computer and they input all this information, and it spits them out a percent damage to that structure. Okay, so if your home is substantially damaged, over 50%, and you're in a special flood area, you're supposed to elevate to the current VFEs. Okay, but if you already meet elevations and your house is there, and you got 60% damage, well, you meet elevations. Just do your permit for repairs, and you still good. You meet elevations, and if you could do it your home 2 years ago. We got that final elevation shot. So it's really a tool. It's going to, at the end, we get it in the office. The girls are doing permits. They look at it. Well, we need a repair permit. Yep, you're supposed to have a repair permit in special flood hazard area. A lot of people are doing repairs, and you gotta let them. If you're over 50%, you're only supposed to do enough repairs to where you could live in the structure until you get it elevated. Okay? You can contest. If you at 60%, you can say, hey, this don't sound right. And I can do an estimate and use that. That's fair. And get a contractor to come and do an estimate and say, look, we value that home pre-storm at $130 a square. It's an high-end home. And I'm gonna fix it for $50,000, and I value the home at $200,000. I can take that. Okay, you don't have to elevate. So that's a tool for us. If we need it, we got it. If we don't need it, and a home's repairable, and they only got it at 20%, even though you gut your home, like they told me the other day, if you gotta gut your home, that's 100% gut. You said that's only a small amount of what else you look at in a home. You look at the shingles, the walls, the roofs, the bricks, and of course, if the whole roof is gone, that's another percent. If the bricks, if they can repair it, I mean, it's only a tool to work with. They're not contractors. They only get this to go out in the field and say, look, and then it's a bunch of questions. Check mark, check 10%, 5%, 10%, superstructure. It could be laying all on the ground. Well, that's 100%. You know, so they were even doing slab, and they asked me what was that. So there was a double wide. Well, what was gone? So that's 100%. That's no brainer, you know. But it's a tool for us to use and all. That's all it's for. And then it's about complete with the parish.
If you would, give me this Cindy and make sure that you work that in. Any questions that you receive, I know obviously you myself.
Right.
If you could kind of answer that, would be,
And the paper that they do, so if they go there and there's somebody there, they knock on the door, give them the paper, look, this is what we hear with FEMA contractors, we're doing substantial damage estimates on your structure. But most of them, the public was real nice. They only got run off once, and the cop called over one time. But I went and talked to those people, and they were fine. They let them go back. Once they figured out what they were doing, I talked to them, they said, okay, they can come back. I now understand what you're doing. He said, but they can look at my house and do it, and that way, you don't have it. So, but that letter says you can be fined this and that, this or that. I think it's just, hey, we're supposed to do a permit, you know, because you're in a special flood hazard area. FEMA's gonna ask us for these permits. They're gonna wanna know what we did. If it was over 50%, what did y'all do to get it below 50%? So, yeah, we're supposed to do permits on all homes in a special flood hazard area. Some people are gonna do them, some ain't, but the ones that's not, I think down the road, what's gonna happen, their insurance is gonna ask for that permit. Their home mortgage lender company's gonna ask for that permit. Somebody's gonna ask for a permit, because we've been through them before. And sometimes it's 2 years, hey, I didn't do a permit. Well, let's pull up your stuff. Okay, you were only at 25%, here's your repair permit. Yeah, it's out there to fight, but we got it for you. So.
good.
Well, what about say if your insurance pays you, say your house is worth, 300,000, and your insurance pays you 200,000, they're not going by the insurance premium.
That's
They're just
correct.
going by
We're not, it's not off the insurance, what they pay you, what you're insured for and what they pay you has nothing to do with what we were doing here. It's either your contractor estimate, your architect estimate, you can get an engineer estimate, or you can use this SDE tool that was designed to help the permitting department.
Comment about hearing Bradley, it came off and super nice. It's like the taxpayer permission to take a picture of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I give them the paper, to give to the public, and it's the one that I signed, so. Okay.
Question be, like, what we usually do, like proclamations, like that, something like that.
We're gonna have a ceremony next month.
Next month, we do something like that.
With the fam, are you talking about Daryl? With the family?
Okay.
All right, if there are other questions?
I got one,
Uh-oh.
and it's real short.
Yeah.
Any word on FEMA coming in with his campers on our property? On these? Just a question.
Are you talking about direct housing assistance?
Yeah, the housing assistance.
Well, they are accepting applications. The last that I was updated, the parish did allow for them to put mobile home units and stuff in special flood zone areas. So they have the clearance for FEMA to do that. They do have to meet elevation. From what FEMA's telling us, they're not gonna allow RVs, but they wanna do mobile homes. And they're supposed
We're
to,
talking about putting RVs.
go ahead, you might have another update.
So, when me and Danny met with,
Go ahead, tell them about your meeting yesterday, then I wasn't involved in the meeting, so they have more information for you.
well, we're supposed to be having a housing kickoff meeting that should have had a while back already, but we're kind of behind on that for whatever reason. But we're talking about mobile homes and special flood hazard areas meeting elevations, because you got all the hills down there, they're already here. Grand Lake's got a lot of places, they're talking about 4 different parks, or not parks, or community, or private property to put them on somewhere, or we pushing for RVs. If you can't meet elevations, or you can't get where you need to be with your mobile home, then at least offer them an RV, is where we at. And it sounds like we're gonna be able to do RVs, in some of them areas. Now, I don't know about the parks, I think they looked at some sites, or identified 4 places, but they haven't even got my landowner yet.
So if someone is in a flood zone, they can go to the RV park.
Or put RV on their property too, in their driveway or wherever, while they're trying to rebuild.
Or we didn't have to be elevated.
No, sir.
Or, well, they're not allowing them in flood zone to start with, are they?
Well, they can be elevated up to 18 inches, because they mobilize the travel trailer, they don't wait where you can pull them out.
But are they allowing
That's very short window.
campers in a flood zone?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it
Yes.
won't meet the elevation, but it's,
I said in a flood zone, and they don't meet elevation.
A camper.
A camper.
We allow campers in flood zones now, don't get elevations. I mean, unless there's something down the road that we don't know about.
You can't make a permanent travel trailer in a flood zone. I mean, it has to be
Is
removed.
FEMA allowing it?
FEMA waives a lot of things, so, but y'all tweaked it up some. They not,
Is it still not?
I don't know.
We actually have a treat for you. We have someone from FEMA here. We're hiding him in the back, though.
Oh, so you
Listen first, huh? Yeah, so a lot of this is still going through process, and as Miles said, there's a scoping meeting which we're trying to reschedule, and because of Laura, the Delta was pushed back, and because the body here has been taking time to deliberate this cautiously about what you will accept and what you will not accept. So FEMA has been willing to waive some of the restrictions on putting travel trailers or MHUs in below flood elevation, but the parish has restricted that they do need to be at base flood elevation. So we're going to work within that. We're also looking at what commercial sites are available. So if it turns out that somebody qualifies for a FEMA
MHU or travel trailer, but their residence is not feasible, that they may be able to put them into a commercial site. So we've already begun doing site surveys on commercial sites, what pads may be available, how many pads may be available, and how we may be able to get residents into those facilities.
Now, I got a question for you. If somebody has a trailer park, can somebody get a trailer from FEMA and put it in this trailer park?
Yeah, that's what he says.
But not having to make that whole trailer park a FEMA trailer park?
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do, is to work with what commercial and private travel trailer MHU parks may be available, and what sites may be available, so that it would be a mixed-use site. So there may be some FEMA MHUs or travel trailers in there, but still other people may be able to use it. And then if it comes to the point where there are not enough pads to satisfy the need, we've been discussing building out a FEMA park, which we'd rather not do. It takes a long time. Sir,
Okay,
yes.
so if you do a FEMA trailer park anywhere in the parish, you're gonna be putting other people, other than Cameron Parish people in there. There's somebody comes from New Orleans or New Iberia or wherever, you gotta put them in that park, right?
It's possible, but we would be building really for the capacity here at Cameron Parish. So there are other parks being considered built in other parishes for the capacity that that parish needs. So not necessarily, but we're really looking to make sure that the people who qualify here for travel trails or MHUs have someplace to put them. So
In an established trailer park, and they're full, and you bring in your RVs or your modular homes, are these people gonna have them homes to go into, or they get voted out?
I'm not sure I fully understand your question.
If you have a trailer park that's.
Could you come up here, please?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Keith.
Well, yeah, you sit there the whole time, you just figured out what we were talking about.
Yeah, so I'm Ed McQuillan. I'm the FEMA Division Supervisor for Cameron Parish. And so I'm here to sort through and answer some of your questions.
So, I know one trailer park that was full, and he made everybody get out of the trailer park because it was damaged. And all these people want to go back. And they're being told they can't go back till they get it fixed. I got one guy's pounding on me all the time, stating that they're gonna put a FEMA park there. Will these tenants be able to come back to these trailers?
Yeah, so I'm going to unravel a couple of things there. So there are a couple of concerns that we want to make sure don't happen. We don't want private park owners to be pushing out people who already have a trailer or an MHU in there because they think they can get more money from FEMA, and push people out and evict them and say, oh no, I'm going to put FEMA trailers in here and get more money than you're paying me. So we're going to be careful and mindful that that doesn't happen. We have people who are out surveying, have been surveying already what commercial and what private lots are available. And just had a conversation on the way down here with those FEMA entities that are working on that to get the most updated information. I've been working quite closely with Danny regularly and with Katie and Miles to give them information. We've been pushing through this as hard as we can, and we're looking to take this for action and lean forward and get people as quickly as possible into travel trails or MHUs. The other thing I want to offer is that it takes more time to get someone on a private site than it may into a commercial property or a private travel trailer location. So we want to utilize as many of those sites as we can find and make available, so we can get FEMA travel trails, MHUs in there, so we can get people back into the parish, back to normal as much as possible, as quick as possible. Obviously, though, if somebody does qualify and they want one on their private property as they're rebuilding, whether they're gonna put it on the mound or they're gonna put it next to the location, then we have to look at, you know, what the elevation is, what type of unit it is, and how high it can be, jacked to meet that standard or not. If it doesn't, it's not feasible, then the only other option would be that they go in a commercial or private site.
Okay, but if it's a travel trailer, you don't have to make that elevation. It's only if it's a mobile home, right?
Correct. The travel trail is only gonna go to 18 inches, as Danny said. That's the max height on those.
Now, how about if y'all need, how about there needs to be a FEMA trailer for in-camp repairs?
I don't see why. We got 1,500 spots in Cameron, only 700 we rented from Kiewit, so there's 700 empty somewhere. My next door neighbor.
He probably got 30 or 40 spots.
Yeah, it depends where the needs are at. We don't have the breakdown, we know how many people applied and how many have been approved. We don't have the names, but I don't have the geographics where he's from. My bet would be a lot of people up north. You have some that's coming down south. I think the ones up north of the fair can be a little bit quicker. We can't, so without that data, we're working on some, and I don't want to bring it up because there's a lot of ongoing pending stuff we need to discuss. So I didn't want to bring it up publicly because it's not been decided yet. And I don't want to have mass confusion out there or misinformation. So I just want to kind of keep it short until we got some things we have to iron out.
Well, I'm just trying to look after the tenants in the trailer park that's there now.
Well, and I know what channel you're talking about.
They pay every month, even though they can't.
Can I make it interfere here? I think that's a trailer park, not an RV park, so we will make it clear that.
Yeah,
because
it is.
they can still, if I'm not, if
It's a
they
trailer
need
park.
elevation, they just put them on the ground, a trailer house, not an RV.
Right.
So it's a whole different ballgame, you're talking about RVs.
Well, I call it RV park, I'm RV park means trailer houses to me.
yeah, and the trailer houses do, but with your requirement, because Kenny and Miles have called all of y'all, what y'all wanted, because they was willing to put them on the ground, but the parish does not, as George said, no, it'd be below PFE, but it has to meet elevation. So, we have some things that got crossed up in communication between FEMA, the state, and the parish, and we're trying to iron that out right now. The people are being denied wrongly, which I found out in the last few days, so we're trying to correct that, so we can move this process. As far as the parks, there's some chatter, but you know, there's three sides to every story. There's your side, their side, and then there's the truth. A lot of times they don't match up. But I know the ones you're talking about, I know the park on myself, so I got both stories and they're not driving just right. The park is damaged, they don't have no electricity, no water just yet, and they don't, and from their side, they don't plan on booting people out but they might have a FEMA trailer come back to their spot, get rid of theirs, and then bring a housing from FEMA to that same location. So, but there's a lot of things that need to be discussed and
The last piece I just want to offer is that, that those folks who qualify of rental assistance can take their own travel trailer or RV and put it onto a spot and use their rental assistance to pay for utilizing that location. So, not slab. So that's an option for some folks as well.
Yeah, you gotta watch what you actually think, you don't want it back or something.
Yeah, I mean, there are ample opportunities for these homeowners that are qualifying. I just wanted to kind of clarify that, you know, we are following the parish ordinance. It's not really a decision to the full jury whether or not, what the ordinance is and what the elevations are. Like, we all made recommendations, we have an ordinance in place, it's been in place for years, that's what we're following, and that's what we told FEMA we're following. So we're not restricting FEMA from doing anything, except we're following rules that they already told us we had to follow. So, now, there is an option, if you guys want to change an ordinance and not follow FEMA's rules temporarily, if you want to waive all of our ordinances temporarily, that is something that can be voted on in the end, but right now, we chose to follow our ordinances. So that's kind of where things were left. And that's what we're working through with FEMA, like, we're just following rules, that we have in place, and there are rules for a reason, because that's how we qualify for the to participate in the NFIP. So that's what we're doing. They're working with each individual applicant, but that's something that FEMA does with the homeowner. I mean, really, you guys are out of it. There's not anything you can do for these homeowners. They have to work with FEMA, they have to provide information, and they have ample options that they can choose from. And if they don't like any of their options, well, that's between FEMA and the homeowner. That's not really something that the jury can really get involved in.
We've had this discussion before. We said we're gonna stick with our ordinances. One question we have for him is that if they make that a FEMA park, are they gonna be bringing people in here, not Cameron residents? That's a legitimate question.
The board called me yesterday, and if they need that spot, and they got somebody, say, from New Orleans that needs a spot and willing to come, they gonna put them there. But that's the only thing available. Now, not to say that they ain't gonna try to get these first, he said, but I'm not gonna guarantee you're not gonna have somebody from South Lake Charles down.
No, that is true, there's no restriction,
But as of right now, we don't have any
We don't have
FEMA approved
any.
parks,
And then-
so it's not.
my understanding is the jury have to allow a FEMA park.
Yeah, as a whole park just for FEMA.
Just for FEMA, right.
They're going around asking all the trailer parks in Cameron right now, they got the Corps doing it, and they gathering information if we'll rent to FEMA. And I said, well, is it gonna be local people? And they said, we can't guarantee that.
No, but here's the difference, direct housing, they're gonna provide a house, but what Ed just brought up, there's rental assistance, you seek that out, you can rent what you want, put it where you want, you get money from FEMA to pay for that slot.
Right.
Okay, they're gonna pay this individual money, they're not gonna control the rental slot. Now, if the direct housing, and the FEMA gonna provide the housing, then they're gonna be responsible for the housing and utilities and everything that goes with it. So that's the separation, okay? So that's what people are mixing the two, and there's two different ways to go at it. So if you can't get on your private property or whatever you want, then you seek rental assistance and try to find you a camper. And you find a private owner could have an RV set up, and all you have to do is an agreement with the owner, so that you're leasing this slot.
Why is the Corps going around asking if they can rent our spots to put housing on it?
Because you might get a direct house, yeah, we talking about two different things, that's what I said. If the FEMA's gonna provide a house, yeah, but they're not, right now, we gotta fulfill our people first. Yeah, and they're not gonna build, if they do build a park, it's not gonna be a large park. They're gonna just try to build what's gonna accommodate what we can't fulfill, the ones that can't find a home now. Okay, so, there's a lot of things on the back nowadays, there's a lot of things going on, and it's not decided yet, they're talking amongst themselves, not really to the landowners, they scout down the property. But they're not talking about these large parks, because they own a park, they're gonna provide security the whole 9 yards, you know how they do it. So their goal is to minimize, get the people home a lot quicker, to get you out where you need to be, or a rental assistance. You know, because this process already takes long enough time, so we're trying to expedite. Another thing too, we want to ask FEMA to pay for these elevation certificates. That would expedite the process and save money on the applicants to do. These elevation certificates are expensive. And that would generate a little bit more money to the fair.
There's a lot, I'll tell you one thing, there's a lot of talk about elevating and flood zones and all of this. If they dragged in the coastal, there wouldn't be as many flood zones.
That's a fact. Yes, sir. One thing I'd like to say, I want you to understand, it's not that we don't have compassion for other people. We have very limited resources right now. Our people don't have stores, they don't have access to things. We got one road in, one road out. To bring people down here with an extra burden on people's cameras. My point is, let's keep housing for people in Cameron
I 100% agree, and I roll down here and by invitation of the state to support the local government, and I'm advocating for Cameron Parish, and I'm advocating for the residents here.
And we don't mind the workers that are helping down here, so y'all don't take that as offense, nothing like that. They give people like Thomas and others that have more reforms down here a chance to help out, plus they make more money too.
And just the last piece is, we prefer to use the commercial and the private sites here, and to pay for those sites, FEMA, and maybe mixed sites, so it's more of a balanced community here, than to build out a commercial park that's just FEMA. And so that's the last option that we have, once we've exhausted all other options, and that would only be to, as Danny said, to satisfy the need for this parish if there were no other options. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
That's all right. We're gonna get reading on long enough, but we still need to review our agenda, so let's move into that. That's all. Don, the only question I had, Caleb, number 8, the United Shoreline contract time, is that any additional cost at this time?
Okay, so that change order is going to, it says it's for 36 days. It's actually gonna be for 43 days. They were granted weather days between the time that they sent us this change order and we put it on the agenda today. It's not gonna cost us any additional money. They actually, for the substantial completion, which is the item number 15, that is going to apply liquidated damages to this contract. They went over 11 days, not counting this change order. So it's about $16,000 of liquidated damages that we're gonna apply to this particular contract for going over.
Any questions? Questions on the agenda?
We have one out.
Is that all?
It's the item.
All right. Other business?